How will you know if you've already met the man God has for you to marry? Now, to be clear, only God knows the future. Therefore, it's impossible for us to say for certain you've already met your future spouse. However, there are going to be some very clear signs along the journey that will lead to the man God has for you. And it's important that you know these signs, not so you can predict the future, but rather so you know which man to invest more time in compared to other men that you shouldn't be investing in. Therefore, here are 5 biblical marks you will see in a man when he will become your future husband one day. Number 1, this man will be motivated to pursue you once you show interest in him pursuing you. One of the most underrated variables in knowing God's will is motivation. Why do we have the motivation to do the things we do versus not do the things we don't want to do? Now, certainly there's an element of free choice that God gives to human beings, but there's also clearly an element of God's sovereignty that is involved in the motivations that each person has. And by motivations, I don't mean moral or immoral motives. I mean the urge and the desire and the willingness to actually do something. Notice how this played out in the life of Joseph. Acts 7:9-10, but God was with him and rescued him out of all his afflictions and gave him favor and wisdom before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who made him ruler over Egypt and over all his household. God gave Pharaoh the motivation to give Joseph favor. In a similar way, when God has revealed your future husband, that will be shown through the sign of this man's motivation and desire to want to pursue you. Of course, you're going to have that desire as well, but when you invite his pursuit and you respond positively to him, if he has the right motivation to pursue you, it's going to happen, versus if it's just not there, if he doesn't want to pursue you or never has that desire and power to actually do it, that's not the man God has for you. Number 2, he'll be happy to show you that he has the ability and desire to fulfill the role of a husband before you give him that title. Going back to this idea of favor, let's look at Ruth and Boaz. She said, "Why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner?" She said this in the context of Boaz providing for her when she was in need. They didn't express romantic interest in each other for a few months. In the meantime, Boaz showed her evidence that he was a good man and was prepared to be a good husband. Likewise, in a similar way, when a man is truly interested in you and is headed towards marriage, he's not going to be afraid of putting a down payment, so to speak, on your relationship, knowing that he's building towards something in the future. If this man is one of those guys who's very careful not to invest too much because he knows he's not in this for the long haul, then that's obviously not your future husband. When you meet the right man and you're headed towards marriage, he's going to be happy to invest, knowing that one day this is going to culminate in a marriage between you and him. Number 3, he will press in even harder when the problems start arising in your relationship. Proverbs 17:17, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. So you won't know who your true friend is until adversity comes. Likewise, problems in a relationship can be used to your advantage, because if your relationship is never tested through the problems that you experience together, you will lack the confidence that this really is the right relationship for you. But when you go through a test and a hard thing, and you guys come closer together and this man pushes through and he's showing that he is serious because he's being tested, that then actually will give you greater confidence that you really are on the right track with this man. Number 4, he will be more physically attracted to you the more he gets to know you. Attraction actually works in reverse when it's rooted in infatuation. So, in other words, when someone's just infatuated with you, they will never be more physically attracted to you than at the very beginning of their infatuation. The more they actually get to know you, the more facts they actually gather that are based in reality, the less they will actually be physically attracted to you, because they're filling in all of their unknowns and hopes and expectations with truth. And thus they can't fuel this fantasy that originally started their desire. On the other hand, real true love actually increases the physical attraction as you get to know this person more and more. So when it's true love, you won't be at the highest level of attraction right away. Rather, that will grow as you actually get to know this person and love things about them. The more emotionally connected you become with this man, the more his body will be excited by your sight. He will want to marry you so he can enjoy you sexually and emotionally. And number 5, he'll be willing to change in the ways that you both will need to change so that you can stay compatible with each other over the years. You may be able to choose someone that you're compatible with right now, but it is only possible for God to choose someone that you will remain compatible with, because only God knows the future. That's why it's such a dangerous game to walk out of God's will because you think you know the facts so well and you think you know this guy so well. You actually may be right, but the thing you're forgetting is that people change. We all change, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a fact. As you get older, as you mature, everybody changes. And so to truly stay compatible with somebody, you can't just look at the present. And thus you have to rely on God, because only He can look into the future. We can't do that. When you've met your future husband, Jesus will be your common bond, keeping you close even when you both change over time. If you want to continue to learn about Christian relationships from a biblical perspective, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com. Until next time, God bless.